versus Anduin.
The light shall bring victory.
Victory or death!
Double armor smith into heavy metal. Not sure how good that is against priest though. I'll try it. Probably just going to be a solid 2 through 6 curve. This Dragon Ball Scorcher is a pretty good way to help activate my armor smiths.
Made to fit.
Mountain Fire armor is probably the play over the second armor smith. I guess I'll play another Mountain Fire armor over the halftime Scavenger. I don't think the Scavenger is going to be getting me any armor. He might mass Hysteria this board and then I can just coin heavy metal into heavy metal. I think this always cleared, right? Or no, it didn't clear the armor smith every time, but it always cleared both of the Mountain Fire armors. If he doesn't deal with this, I probably don't play the second heavy metal next turn, because we're going into the Psychic Scream turn, and he's played Shadow Visions.
Unity.
Although I guess early on he probably wouldn't have taken Scream against my deck. But whatever, he might just have it anyway. No way to actually get through the Ziliax, unfortunately. But if you can't deal with this, this is still 30 damage over 2 turns. He heals twice, but I have Kor'kron. Wow. That's the worst diamond spellstone I've ever seen, I think. And it's actually still pretty good. Let's draw a couple cards with this Battle Rage. Could have gone Armor Smith instead, but not much of a reason to commit it. Shield Slam? I was planning to send a Kor'kron into this, but Shield Slam definitely has to be better. I guess I'll just go ahead and play a halftime Scavenger as well. It doesn't really matter against Mass Hysteria or Psychic Scream, I think. And he definitely would have screamed last turn instead of Spellstone if he had it right.
Warriors of the frozen wastes.
Second Shield Slam, easy lethal. Turns out when they can't kill your 6-mana 12/12, you're favored.
Versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
Victory or death!
I'm assuming he's odd mage, so I do like the 1-drop.
None will survive.
Cool Taskmaster is a really good follow-up to this. Lets me trade over a Dire Mole. Not sure if I play the Taskmaster if he doesn't play something, because then he can just hero power my guy, but he had something, so the point is moot. If he spends time hero powering here, I get to play Frothing into an empty board. Seems fine. Alright, that could have gone worse for me, I guess. At least he had to use the coin to hero power.
We have many secrets.
Ooh, I can shield slam that. I don't really want to play my Frothing Berserker into an Explosive Runes, so I can go for the Armor Smith instead. But if it's Counterspell, I don't really want to just have this in play. I guess I can just do this first. That counterspell was really good. He gets to trade over one of my frothings here, and then I probably have to devastate. Wow, this is so risky. The best result for me was hitting frothing once, but hitting it 3 times was okay. Although the Argent Squire does make it a little bit worse. I think I'm definitely devastating playing Armor Smith. Question is, do I Battle Rage or Hero Power? I think I have enough life. He doesn't have that many cards. I can just Battle Rage here. Unfortunately, I couldn't deal with the Squire, but I got my 8 damage on. That's fine.
We have many secrets.
No secret, please. So I can run Kor'kron Elite over this and then draw 3 cards if I want. It puts my Kor'kron into hero power range. That doesn't sound very appealing. So I'll just take 2 cards.
Strike.
Am I trading or going face with Kor'kron? Probably just trade, I guess. I think I'm definitely the control deck in this matchup. Going face doesn't seem to matter too much. By trading, I get an extra armor out of the Armor Smith. Could take a random 5-drop here if I wanted it, but it doesn't seem worthwhile. There's a good chance he'll get baited into killing this Mountain Fire armor, and then I can get a 10-drop off this Heavy Metal next turn. It's pretty convenient for him with the Squire plus the hero power. That's all of his missile cards. Unfortunately, the Crystallizer didn't eat too much of that damage, but I can still get a 9 or a 10. Yep, for a 9 seems way better. I don't know why this went face instead of popping the Divine Shield, but whatever. Probably doesn't matter too much. I'm at 31. I'm ahead on life, board, tied with cards in hand, but my cards in deck are all better than his. I feel like I'm just in a very solid position to win this game. Let's take a 10-drop. A nice Sea Giant, huh? Not gonna Shield Slam a 1/1. Man, that counterspell with the Kirin Tormage on turn 3 was so strong. And he still just got dominated. I guess he drew like double Arcane Missiles and a bunch of 1-drops and stuff.
Victory or death! Bring it on!
1, 2, 3 curve. Warrior is probably a matchup where I want to apply the pressure with Mountain Fire armor. I think Odd Warrior is probably a tough matchup for me though. I don't kill him fast enough to beat his hero power. He kills all my stuff. I don't have enough value to keep up. But if there's a hand that can do it, it's this hand probably. Maybe he just doesn't have the Super Collider on 5. Good pressure start. I already have enough power on board to beat his hero power, but it doesn't beat it as fast as I would like. It's obviously going to depend on the state of things and what my board and hand look like, but I think I might just not be able to respect Reckless Flurry or Brawl in this matchup.
Out of
But this does seem like a good spot to just like drop a Blood Razor or something. Maybe a Shield Slam. Just draw 2 cards with Battle Rage, push this damage. What does the Blood Razor do? Killing this is still a little bit awkward. I guess I could like Blood Razor and then send this in here. It's a 4/1. And he just doesn't have like any good targets for Super Collider. Maybe that's a way I could try to play around it. I am doing a significant amount of damage every turn. Sure, we'll give that line a shot, I guess. And if he doesn't have a good play here, then I get to draw 4 cards off Battle Rage next turn, which is obviously appealing. I think it's going to be no problem having 10 armor for the rest of the game, so digging for Heavy Metal or Yip sounds pretty good. Especially since I'm keeping his armor chipped low enough that it's going to be hard for him to shield slam big stuff. That card kind of sucks. Alright, I think this is definitely draw 4 and then shield slam his guy. Could draw 4 more if I want to trade off my guy. I think having the stuff on board is better though. And obviously don't hit with my weapon because it kills 9 power. So if he just armors up, goes up to 14, my Kor'kron is lethal. If he kills my board, I can Heavy Metal for a 10. Ugh. Disgusting. That was the best card he could have had in his entire deck. So I could go like Devastate plus Kor'kron his face instead of a 10-drop. But I think a 10-drop sounds pretty appealing. Even if it's just an 8/8. An overpriced Bittertide Hydra in this matchup. That's getting shield slammed, or maybe Cruel Taskmaster devastated. I think this Cruel Taskmaster wants to push Two-Face though. Yikes. So Cruel Taskmaster, Devastate, and Shield Slam. Maybe those are all coming out this turn. I could Kor'kron over this instead of playing one of the other things on it. But like I said, I want Kor'kron to go face. I guess I'm just going to take 1 card out of this Battle Rage. I'm not interested in damaging my Sea Giant. Am I? I could Shield Slam Kor'kron and then Cruel Taskmaster my Sea Giant. But that seems pretty weak to Brawl. But it does push a lot of damage, but I give up this Kor'kron. No, I'm pretty sure that this is fine. Alright. Set him to 8. It's pretty hard for him to get enough armor to shield slam my guy or anything like that. A lot of the kills on my Sea Giant involve trading this guy off, so maybe my Yip gets me a 10. So I can just trade here. Play Yip, I guess. I think I'd rather just play the Heavy Metal. It kind of forces him to have something anyway. Although, actually, if I play Yip, and with Yip ending up in the middle,
What now?
Super Collider is actually still pretty good, because this is going to be an 8/5. Kills Yip, and then I have a random 10-drop, which probably doesn't beat his, well, it would probably beat his 16 armor if his Super Collider's going into this. But it's way worse against, like, Brawl or Reckless Flurry. I think I'm just gonna Heavy Metal. So, Super Collider doesn't kill, Brawl only kills 1. He needs a shield block if he wants to Reckless Flurry. His Tyrantus is pretty good here. The difference between a 12/12 and an 8/8, or whatever else this turn, is so huge, just in terms of what can actually deal with this. He can't even go like Armor Up, Shield Slam, Reckless Flurry, or anything, just because I got the Tyrantus instead of the Deathwing. So super high roll, but worth noting that the Sea Giant is like the worst 10 drop, so it sort of evens out, but there are more 8/8s than there are 12/12s.
Unity, precision, perfection.
He attacks. That can't be right, can it? So let's see. This is 20 damage. I run Korkron in here, he's at 22. There's no chance to win with Dynamatic because this is a mech. Don't have mana to double Scorcher, even if I did it would kill this. Looks like a Korkron turn. If he just didn't attack with Ziliax there, it might have ended up worse for him, since my deck has so many ways to ping off the Divine Shield. And I have 2 Dragon Ball Scorchers in hand, so I would have done it. But maybe that was just a risk he was willing to take to heal for 8. Alright, so I actually got there. I think that's probably a pretty bad matchup. But I managed to, I think, mostly invalidate Super Collider that game. And it looks like he didn't have Brawl or a good Flurry. After playing 34 games with this deck, I'm pleasantly surprised to report that I won 18 of them, so slightly over 50%, which is quite a bit better than my record with the deck had been previously. I did say at the beginning of part 1 that I felt recent meta trends were good for this deck, but the 2 decks that I mentioned specifically, the OTK Paladin and Warlock decks, I actually played against almost none of those, so perhaps other recent meta trends have favored this deck more than I expected. Or maybe it's just the relatively low competitiveness around the time that nerfs drop. But anyway, 18 and 16, fairly happy with that. What I'm not happy with is that in those 34 games, I only rolled 1 Hakar the entire time, and it got hexed the turn after I played it, so that was very disappointing. As far as the list itself goes, I think I'm pretty pleased with it overall, and I think most of the inclusions just make sense. Probably the biggest thing to look at is that I'm not playing Fungalmancer. In the past, a lot of times I felt like I was getting beat on board and couldn't always get the Fungalmancer down on turn 5. But lately it definitely seems like I'm in control of the game going into that turn, so Fungalmancer could definitely be a reasonable inclusion. The Dynamatic sticks out to me as a card that's maybe a little bit misplaced, because recently I do feel like I'm usually ahead on board, but the card is so insanely powerful it can't be that bad. Unfortunately, the halftime scavengers didn't feel super good, because it feels like for 4 mana they're not really applying enough pressure against the late game decks, and it's actually pretty hard to get the overkill out of this unless you're going up against something janky like Odd Hunter. Or I guess Odd Paladin is becoming maybe a little bit more popular after the nerfs. But I think halftime scavenger is maybe like the 29th and 30th best cards in the deck. And then other than that, I think the only other thing I would look at is 2 copies of Devastate, 2 copies of Shield Slam. I think at some count these cards are definitely good in the deck, but maybe 4 combined copies is too much, so whichever one is weaker, maybe just drop it for a second copy of Eternium Rover or something. But overall, pretty pleased with my results, and not too many changes I would make to this list.